welcome our Spa Professionals Guild members. We are on over 50 members currently from 12 different countries. So it's wonderful to see that every week this number is growing and our community is growing, which is absolutely fantastic. And for those of you who aren't 100% aware yet, because we do have some invited guests that are attending our session today, we have a business management training course that we run, where really we are focused on transforming ourselves and transforming the way that you manage and the way that you run your businesses for the future, for how the economy has changed and how business has changed, how staff have changed. So it's really making sure that we are keeping you equipped to operate at optimum peak performance in a new world that we are finding ourselves in. So we have some members at the moment that are busy with module 3 already. There are 7 modules, and we have the next one that is starting up on the 17th of September. We are closing registrations for that by the end of next week. So if you can, please try and get all your registrations in by next week. Wednesday will be great. And really, this is an investment in you and transforming the way that you do business. Okay? Again, one of the things that we focus on a lot is that tough teams don't last. Tough times don't last, but tough teams do. And that's what we focus on in one of our modules, which is building a tough team, a resilient team. And everybody going through module 2 at the moment will be in that specific process and in that specific area. So just quickly, some feedback from the past week from the trade. I don't know if anybody can resonate with this, if this is how you are feeling in your businesses, but there's 3 main common information that I'm getting from the industry, and that is that bookings have definitely increased. Okay, so I don't know if everybody's finding that as well. Not dramatically, but bookings are slowly but surely on the rise. Then we have some interesting feedback that has come up in the top business challenges as well, which we'll go through a little bit later on, but that therapists are either on fire, so they're going for it, they are motivated, or they are completely apathetic in a space where, you know, they're not 100% sure of what's going on, and they're in a don't care kind of space, okay? And then the other thing that I'm finding feedback from all of you is that salon owners and managers are taking huge strain, especially in this last week. I'm not sure why. My phone has been bombarded with trying to get everything done. They feel like there's not enough hours in the day. They feel like their head is spinning. And this is pretty normal. Okay, so that's just to give you some feedback of what's going on, to see if you can resonate with what's happening in the marketplace. Before I go on to the 2 or the business challenges, I want to quickly, very quickly, go through something that I've been through before. I've just adapted it slightly, but I'm going to give you a couple of very quick tips. So you must take photographs and or just listen in and keep it in the back of your head. But what you should be doing as a manager right now in these times. Okay, the first one is that you are in control of your staff's mindset and take ownership of that. Your staff do not control how they feel. You control it. So we've got lots of tools for you. If you need assistance in that arena, you reach out to us and we will help you. But you need to understand that as the owner and the manager, you are in control of how your staff are feeling. Okay, their mindset, their morale, their energy transference that they are putting onto your clients. Okay, this is, for example, one of the little tools that we have available for you, which is a dynamic employee wellness guide. Okay, very importantly, is we keep talking about staff's morale and mindset, but you've got to get your own mindset right. Okay, And one of the things I chatted about last week, and I'm going to keep on about it all the time, is that you've got to get your own mindset right. And the first step to getting your mindset right is to stop with all the excuses. We almost seem to become overwhelmed and overfilled with excuses. And who knows what the most common excuse is? Can anybody type it in the chat box? What is today's most common excuse that all of us find ourselves using? Don't have time. Okay, don't have time. Time. Okay, so you're all saying that. So one of the ways to getting your mindset right is to stop with the excuses. Stop saying I don't have time. You may really legitimately not have it, but don't utter those words. Don't say them and make them a reality. Okay. Be visible more than ever in your business. Your customers need to see you as owners, and they need to see the managers. They always see the therapist. They have a relationship with the therapist. They need to know that you're on top of everything and that the business is okay and that you are looking after your therapist and you are looking after them as customers. Sorry for the spelling error. Don't stop training. Don't stop training. And if you say you don't have time, delegate this function to somebody. But the training function of your team is crucial right now. They have to be trained on a weekly basis on something, whether it is an SOP, whether it is how to sell a specific retail product, whatever it is, they need to constantly have that surge of information. Increase your client's communication. Make sure that the communication is targeted to the client and that it's relevant. Very important. Okay, so we're not going into detail with any of these today. I just want to give you a very quick overview of what you should be doing as a manager right now. Don't relax your online efforts. So for those of you who have started an online and are thinking, oh gosh, it's not working. Well, I'm not getting anywhere with online. Give it time. Keep working at it. Keep working at it. Online is definitely our future, but it requires patience, consistency, and perseverance. Okay? Rightio. Let's meet our coaches. So our coaches for today, first I'm going to show you them on our screen, and then we will ask them both to unmute. I'll present them with the challenges that have come out from the survey forms that we have sent out. And we will ask them both their opinion on the exact same challenge. And it'll be interesting to see if we get different opinions or different types of ideas. And if anybody else actually at this point in time has anything to add, now's your time. So I'd like today to be as interactive as possible. All you simply do, if you want to say something, just there's a little raise the hand icon, and then I'll call on you to speak. Okay, so our first coach is Andy from Six Senses, who is meant to be based in Oman, and currently, Andy, I don't even know where you are. You're in the UK somewhere, but you said you were driving.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm currently in the north near Manchester. Hi, everyone, by the way.
Nice. Okay, that's awesome. I'm going to take this screen off in a minute so that we can see more of each other's faces. And then our second coach that we have is Francisco from Taj. Fran, are you there?
Yep. Hi everyone.
Awesome. Hello. Okay, super. Right, gents. So I know we said only 2, but I'm going to try, it's not that many more. I'm just going to try and squeeze in a few extras because we seem to have got quite a lot of feedback from the marketplace, and a lot of them seem to be asking the same things. So I couldn't really pull 2. I had to put, let's see how much time we have to get through them. Okay. So the first one is basically therapists, all right? This seems to be common amongst most of the feedback that we got. And in that department, I'd like you both to comment on, firstly, they are not driven to retailing. They're lacking motivation. They need to be constantly babied and constantly watched. And yeah, so let's start with whoever. Francisco, let's start with you.
Hi, can everybody hear me properly?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So the challenge, I will say, is with regards to a therapist not being motivated to retail. I think it's important, first of all, what is your company culture? So when they arrive at work, have you trained them enough? Have you shown them how much they can achieve? Have you done all these steps before you say, well, they're not retailing? Have you thrown them into the deep end and not giving them the right tools to equip them to actually do what they need to do? Because if you have given them the right tools and shape the mindset to where, you know, to how much potential they have to earn more money by just retailing, at the beginning, it becomes a little bit of effort and a little bit of a constant reminder and a constant chasing of the team on or what they need to achieve. But once you create that habit, it's automatic. You won't have to do it anymore. They do it by themselves because they start seeing almost as a self-assurance exercise for themselves that they can actually do it. I had therapists here at Tosh, you know, when I arrived, I think we were retailing, I don't know, like 2% or something like non-existent. And it's, all I needed is for them to buy into what I saw that they could do. And by doing that, you already believe more in them than what they believe in themselves. But you gotta have the belief first. And of course, equip them with the right training, the right mindsets. Tools that we did here, for example, is to establish goals and how much, for example, they think they can sell without overwhelming themselves. So we eliminated the big figure of how much they must sell in 1 month. And we asked them, how much do you think you could sell in a day, for example? And let's say they say 500 Rand. And then we averaged it out, and then we said, okay, so if you can do 500 Rand and you have 4 clients, that equals to what? 125 Rand per client, and an average of 4 clients a day. Do you think you can actually sell 125? I don't think we even have a product for 125 Rand, but anyway, so it shows you how little then they have to make the effort to only attach one product to one client 4 times a day. And eventually, yes, of course, they don't achieve it all the time, and they don't make 500 Rand a day. Sometimes they make 1,000, some days they make 100. But it's the habit of creating that objective and that target of how much they can do. And eventually that target, they start pushing themselves. And then instead of having 125 Rand per client, then now they do 200 Rand, 250 Rand, and so on. And slowly your retail is increasing. But I think it's important that it's the mindset of we gotta change, and we, like you just said, Marisa, in your slide, that you are in control of that, and so right, because they come here, you don't know, especially a lot of people right now, you know, they've been, I don't know, they may be bankrupt or they've been indebted, and we gotta also take care of that as well, and then ensure that we engage on where are they in the sort of in a wellness or mental state right now when they come back to work. And if your company culture is not strong enough to make sure that they're safe and they are protected and you got their back, I think the rest of the problems can continue when they come to work and they're not able to isolate those items. I know I'm talking and rambling off a lot off the topic, but I think it comes down to mindset. Allow them and help them to shape the mindset, keep the focus, and ensure that that focus is consistent throughout the day, and keep chasing and asking how did it went, without and not in a punishing way or in a, oh, you didn't do it, but and then analyze it and take some time to like, okay, why it didn't work, how it didn't work, what did you do, what what your friend did or your colleague did that actually it worked, and maybe it's also start pairing people up, therapists up, one with each other. One is a good retailer, one that is really bad retailer, and start learning from each other. At the end of the day, it's a constant focus every single minute of your operation. You can't just give it a focus for a minute or a day and then, oh, never forget. So in order to shape the mindset.
Okay, great. And Andy, from you?
Yeah, from my side, there's some great points there previously. I would say there's two issues we're talking about. One is an attitude thing, because you're talking about drive and motivation. So it's actually, it's a manageable attitude. I would say the second part of it is then the skill set. But both of these things can be controlled by performance management. I would say that attitude is something we don't really manage that well. We tend to leave people to it, and it's almost like, you know, someone who's driven is motivated, and someone is not. And then we are giving them tips, and we're encouraging as managers and leaders and owners, but actually we can performance manage the attitude. So, for example, if you've got someone who's really, really motivated, that's an attitude, a temporary attitude that you want to consistently go on. It's like when you join the gym. In January of a year, you're motivated. You're motivated in January, but what keeps you going in June, July, August is no longer motivation, it's habit, and you've got separate goals. So you're self-motivated to continue. Same with a therapist. If they're retailing, someone you want to have drive and motivation, you can lay this down as an expectation. So when we're managing people and sitting with them, doing our one-to-ones, this is something that you can put in as an expectation. I expect you to come to work, and I expect you to show drive and show motivation, but you have to lay out and put an expectation of what drive and motivation is. Because you can't just say, okay, I expect you to be motivated, come in and singing in the morning. You'd say motivation looks like, for example, every guest that you see, I expect you to bring them out into the retail area in the reception and show them something. That's the performance expectation, because there's a performance difference between someone who's driven. It's not just how they're talking or what they're projecting in the room, it's what they're physically doing, isn't it? The reason, if they're motivated and excited, they're doing certain things differently. So you want to get those things and put them into someone else. And you can only do that by having regular one-to-ones and having these performance management until such a time that they become a good level. And at a later date, if they dip down or your good people dip down, you have to do the same with them.
Okay, so if I'm listening to both of you, and you guys can just say yes or no to my question, from my understanding of what you're saying is that if that is a problem with your staff, it stems from you as the manager's lack of systems or lack of implementation of systems to ensure the delivery of the staff doing that. Am I reading correctly from both of you? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Fran? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Right.
Yeah. I think we gotta be careful as well that we I think it's just can stem up out of the topic a lot, but I mean also like what is your management style and how do you manage your team? Because if we talking about what Andy was saying, a performance management of your team, and then if you're too aggressive and then people are not buying into it or whatever that you're authoritarian or whichever your management style, you gotta pro yourself and analyze, is this what my business needs, or should I adapt to what to steer the business in a better way? So yes, it all starts with the manager. At the end of the day, it's the one who drives the ship. So
okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right, the next question, and I think both of you can answer this pretty quickly, is retail. How do we compete with the same brands being sold in a retail environment? So in a in a store or in a supermarket, and I mean, remember, it's not only people from South Africa here. So, you know, whereas it might be a shop in South Africa, it might be online in a different country. But how does the spa compete? And they're saying that they're losing sales, but basically because their brands are being sold in a retail environment. So let's start with you this time, Andy.
We had an issue with Six Senses. We had this problem where, and obviously it's a trend that's been growing where people are saying, "Oh, I want to check online," or, you know, I think it's available in like the UK classically, because we have lots of British guests. And one thing is just about, it becomes part of the close of sale in terms of the sales technique, and because people want to be pushed on it. It's like anything. If they'll say, "Oh, you know, it's like I want to think about it. I need to go and talk to my husband," etc. They do the same thing, and you say, "Oh, you know, actually, you can get it online, but it's honestly about the same price, and you want to start using it right now, don't you? So actually, blah, blah, blah." And you put this in as part of the sales pattern. But then also there's like, I think as a team, it's important that, because everyone's got slightly different versions of this, and it might be, okay, it's availability nearby, maybe they're very close to the spa specifically where they are, or the salons. So you can have certain offers in place to say, "Oh yeah, you can do, but actually, if you buy in this stuff now, we can put in that we've got this offer, and we can give you this." So one is the confidence, because it's like anything. I'd say if you don't have the confidence, you take a step back with that. People will then say, "Oh, I'm going to check it online," and some people will. But then have that backup offer. But I think that should be decided amongst the team what the best thing is, and they can use that as their own special tactics.
Nice, I like it. Okay, Fran, from you.
So I always say that that it's the people who sell the brand. It's not the brand doesn't sell itself. So be obsessed and besotted with the brands that you stock in your spa, and should not allow for anyone to actually go online and buy something online, because your customer service and your delivery of the product should be so convincing. And like Andy was saying, the confidence that if you allow for any doubt or any reason for questioning, you know, your closing of the sale has to be so perfected that they won't look anywhere else. And that's how you win. You will always win because the people is who sells the brand. The brand doesn't sell itself.
Brilliant.
100%, you're right. 100%, I agree.
Yeah. So for those of you who are on our business management course, you've got, I think it's module 6, I think. It's the marketing and sales module. And I've got like a 3-step, what I call Marisa magic, to closing a sale of anything, no matter what it is. It can be a bottle of water, or it can be a face mask that is so readily available now in a spa environment. So we are going to be covering that in depth, but you two have already given away a little bit of what we're covering, in that it's not about the brand. It's about 2 things. One is the person, and the second thing is the system and what steps you take towards closing that sale. So thank you, gents. Okay, so the next one we're going to, let me just share the screen to have a look at it quickly. Okay, so the next one is attracting. So this one was quite broad, because I had a lot of people saying, how do we attract more clients, which is very broad. So I'm not sure if any of you have any ideas with that. And in the same, I sort of put them in the same group, is attracting non-spa goers to the spa. So for me, they sort of fit together. Okay, so Fran, let's this time start with you.
Okay, so like you said, it's very broad. So I think I would reverse the question and ask first, like, how did you know why they're not going first?
Okay.
Why they're not going to, if they're not spa goers, what's the issue? If you revise your communication, perhaps maybe the message sent out or the language that your spa speaks is too, I don't know, whatever, girly or feminine or masculine or whatever the language that you're using, or too aggressive or too pompous or too whatever the case may be. So have you done a self-analysis of perhaps why they're not or you're not attracting whoever you aim at attracting.
Okay.
Of course, we're not going to please everyone all the time, and we can attract everybody. So I think you need to decide who you want to attract first. You can just say a spa non-goer, but okay, but who is that non-goer, or who is that spa goer, and which one is the one that you want to attract? And also, I think it comes into to the message that you put out, the communication, the language that you use, and also if with regards to techniques, I don't know. I would just think something to put like a specials or some sort of not discount. I don't like the word discount. I don't like the word coupon. I'd rather have a value add or something like that, and maybe bring your friend who's, I don't know, it might not be a spa goer, and then you have a pedicure for free with you have your massage and your facial or something like that, or have a package that is free. I mean, like you can choose 6 treatments for a different price, but you can choose from and make your 90-minute package. So you don't restrict people from selecting certain items because they might be I don't know, scared, or they don't like it. I mean, I know men are a bit clumsy still in spa, especially in South Africa. We all know that men are still very awkward feeling. Even, I mean, I can speak from my spa that I can see a lot of my men come in the weekend because the wife brings them, not because they would choose to specifically come, we have our regular clients that, and actually majority of the regular clients are male, which is nice, but they come because for the regular treatments. But like I said, especially over the big trading days, which is the weekend, we have a lot of non-spa goers or first timers because somebody's bringing them along with, which is also nice. And then like that, they feel less awkward. They feel less, I don't know. I think it's maybe embarrassed. I don't know. Maybe the male marketing thing in South Africa somehow still a bit immature, I think, with regards to that. But that's, I will find out first. Why are they not going, and then maybe review your language and the way that you communicate. I would think.
Okay. All right, Andy, from you.
Not too much to add to that, but I'd say we've had quite a good success with getting people in without mentioning the word spa. We're trying different things to sort of get people who might be slightly interested in, say, well-being or wellness to come in and do footfall. Depends on the type of property that the people have, of course, and if you've got space to do it. But we did things like 5 tips to live a more balanced lifestyle, those sort of things. So it's kind of education, how to combat stress, breathing, and blah blah blah. So it was things that weren't related to an offer to do a treatment, to do this, to do that, but just to get people who might otherwise not be interested in one thing to come and see us. And then, like Fran was talking before, the people are selling the brand and the product. But actually, when we're talking to them, we can then talk about other stuff. And you've broken that of actually first getting into the spa in the first place.
Okay, that's quite interesting. So putting an educational spin on it, which sounds nice, instead of come to the spa for a massage. Okay, great. All right.
Yeah, it's just anything you can add, anything different you can add in to make it more appealing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then there seems to be a lot of spas. So I'm just sharing my screen again here where my cursor is, that are working with 2 teams. Obviously because of COVID, right? And very interesting, this came up with quite a few spas, that the one team is stronger and more motivated, more driven. And the second team, and they're obviously not mixing them, because then if an infection arises, they don't have to wait too long to be able to reopen. Okay. So, so the one team is much stronger, more motivated, more driven. And the second team is not so motivated, much less bookings, less repeat clients. And it seems to be some of them where the manager is working with one specific team, for example. Okay. So I think, Andy, let's start with you this time.
All right. For me, this comes back to a little bit what we were talking about before, which is about managing the expectations of the staff. And I don't know if this means are the people managing the both teams, or do they have people in charge of each team?
So,
or is it a mixture?
so either the manager goes in with one specific team, or the manager is common to both teams, so that would be the only common denominator, or the second team is being overseen by a head therapist and not the actual manager. But so I think the question,
okay.
how do I get a balance in my teams? How do I not have this hectically strong team and then this other team that is so weak?
Well, I think then it depends on the situation exactly, but like if you had, say, if you've got a manager in charge of one team who's performing well, that would suggest that either the manager or the staff have got certain expectations that they're following. They're doing things differently and successfully. And the second team then is obviously doing different things, not in a positive way. If it's the leader of that team, then the manager needs to be performance managing the leader. And by performance managing, I don't mean disciplining.
Yes.
I just mean holding regular meetings, sitting with them and then saying, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing today? So the leader, like with my team, I would say, okay, what is it you're doing? Who are you looking at? So we've got 3 therapists aren't performing well. They're not selling. Okay. What are you going to do with them? Well, I'm going to sit with them and motivate them. What does that look like? What are you going to specifically tell them? If it's you doing it, you do the same with the individual. So you got them right. So you're not motivated. What does motivation look like? What is it you're going to do today? What do you need to do differently? And then looking at the skills. So I mean, we could talk for hours. I could about this, but it's about laying the expectations down again, because the two teams are doing different things or doing the same things differently. But either way, it comes back to the same thing, that you want to change that behavior. And ultimately, they don't need to be motivated. They just need to do these things. And if they do these things, the success will come back up. And if the people don't want to do it, well, then that's another conversation about changing the people or giving them different roles.
Okay, great. Thank you. I've got an idea about this, but I want to hear what Fran has to say first. So, Fran, over to you.
For me, the obvious will be change the manager. Anyway, that's the obvious for me, change the manager, because the manager is the problem, or because maybe she's been walked all over or whatever there. Because if one performs, but I mean, maybe that's not the possibility, but obviously, I know it's the COVID era and it's difficult to mix, things up, but I will definitely performance manage that manager that is managing the second team or whatever, the team that doesn't perform well. Definitely, I think the problem is the manager. It's not the team. So again, the team will allow to do what the managers allows them to do. So if you allow that behavior repeats and repeats and repeats, and then we are non-performance. Well, maybe the manager is a non-performer, and maybe she needs to be then taken out or replaced, or performance managed into a better position or a better situation, or out.
Okay. So
I wouldn't waste much time though. I would just action right away.
Okay.
Time for this.
So my idea on this topic, I'd like to add into it, is that I feel that there needs to be one common denominator that crosses over into both teams. So for me, I would put the manager going in with both teams. So in other words, the same manager manages both teams, and that person is the common denominator.
Right.
And if there is an infection, then only one person needs to be tested, and that would be the manager. So your second team can come in and operate. So I don't know, that's the way that I would see quite a simple solution to that. While we're on this subject, Larika, I hope that you are available to speak, because she told me such an amazing story this morning or last night, I think. I can't remember when the two of us spoke, but I asked her if she would share it with everybody. So I hope that she is here, because it is an amazing story.
Hi, Marisa, can you hear me?
Yes, tell us your story.
Yeah, sorry, I've been battling to get back on because we've got load shedding and seem like everything is going wrong at the moment. But I'm going to try and stay on.
Okay.
So we had a brilliant weekend. And it's very strange that you just had the two teams, because of my two teams, that was my stronger team that was working this past weekend, and I do have my weaker team that is in here this weekend. But and I manage both of them, so it's an interesting thing. But anyway, so on Monday morning, I had a call from a client, and then she let me know that she when they went back to Joburg, she got tested, and then she got her results back on Monday morning, and that she tested positive for COVID. And I'm like, okay, here the roller coaster starts. But luckily my team actually took it so well, because everything in place, there was no fear from them, or that they felt that, oh goodness, they're going to have this. All protocols was followed. The therapist said she followed everything. She was washing her hands, she sterilized the room before and after. Luckily, this client came in late afternoon, and there was no other clients in that room, because we've got enough, so we were rotating between rooms, so no other client went into that room after that client. But so then we needed to, unfortunately, lock the spa and cancel the appointment for Monday. And now my team 1 has now been isolated. But I checked in again with them every day, and they also know they're good. I actually shared your video that you shared on our chat with them this morning about not quitting. And they're all like, this is so powerful, wonderful. They can't wait to come back to work. So the team morale is definitely high. And I must say, my therapist, and it's a process, because last year I focused a lot individually training them, having meetings with them, trying to boost them, trying to grow them, not knowing what's going to happen this year. But now I can see it paying off, because they are on fire. They are upselling, they are retailing like mad. My team that worked last weekend, I mean, revenue wise, we achieved what we normally do with all my therapists there. So they're on fire. They're upselling, they're retailing. It's great to see. And it's great to see their passion. And but with all my therapists, they're also thankful to be able to be. So we've dealt with this client, followed all the procedures, and thanks to you, because you made it so much easier, because you gave us all the tools to implement if something like this happens, and making it so much more confident to deal with it, and helping them to not be afraid. And so we had our spa disinfected and chemical wiped and everything. It's certified clean. So we're back up and running with Team 2 now this coming weekend.
Right.
So it's been good. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. And that is, it's so nice to hear the success stories. And that's why I wanted you to tell everyone that you've just opened, and you've just had an infection, and you're on 2 teams. Your teams are on fire. So in the middle of all this, you having these fireballs thrown at you, but you are coming from a strong place. And that's really what I wanted everybody to hear, that you're in the right headspace. You've got your tools, you've taken the tools, and you've actually physically implemented it, not just looked at them and said, oh, this is interesting. So well done, Larika. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. All right, so let's keep going. We're almost done with these challenges, and then I'm going to open up the floor if anybody's got any others. Okay, the next one is the challenge that communication is falling on deaf ears. And I must say, this is coming up quite a bit. In other words, emails, texts, social media announcements are not being responded to. So whereas in the past, people would get an email or get a WhatsApp or get a social media announcement and respond to it. Now there seems to be like basically falling on deaf ears. So who did we start with first? Andy. So now we're starting with Fran.
Sure. I also find the same situation that you guys are mentioning at the moment. I think perhaps we are a little bit all overloaded in with too much information, too much communication, perhaps. And I don't have the right answer. From experience, perhaps what my gut will tell me maybe to pick up the phone and maybe call my clients on a regular phone and avoid all this. I just think it's too much. Social media, you have 3, 4, 5, 7 different platforms, social media, but they all repeat the same messages. And then what I say, the other one saying it, the other one is saying it. And if that wasn't enough, then you have the news channels, they're telling you how bad the world is. So, at some point, if we don't have a very good filter system, we can be totally overloaded. And I mean, I'm barely ever on my social medias because my life is quite hectic at the moment. So, and I even feel inundated, and I barely even open my channels. Maybe if I did once a day, and then that's it. And I never respond because I don't have the time, because my family life keeps me really busy. So, so I will think that perhaps let's go the old-fashioned way. People miss maybe talking to people. Perhaps maybe hearing that familiar voice of your therapist, of your business, and then check on them, how they're doing. And because this morning I had a call from the guy that we report in India, and I haven't spoken to him since before lockdown, and since it has been closed and stuff. And then it goes straight into the business, and the second question he asked me, how's your family? How's your babies? How's everyone? And it changes the whole conversation changed all at a sudden. And I didn't feel like that pressure anymore. Like, oh, what is going to ask me? What is it going to ask me? And it was just asking me something about staffing. But it's all you have to do is tap into that personal space and how you've been feeling. How's the lockdown been for you? And maybe find out how they are. Just that's it. Maybe you don't need to bombard them with, we have this special, come to the spa and all the same, because you're already doing that by contacting them.
Okay.
On a personal level.
Tongo's also saying, I think people now want to be spoken to. Maybe is now a good time to let all the therapists be building relationships pay off. Let them talk to your clients. Lovely. Okay, Andy, from you.
Yeah, I agree with Fran, really. I've had so many emails and texts and offers and Facebook alerts. I'm sick to death of it, and I don't read it. And I think with the lockdown as well, people have been so glued to their screens. Yeah. And I know the feeling that I'm just completely sick to death of technology and iPads and things. So actually, a human conversation. I was in the bank the other day, and I was talking to someone face to face. It was such a wonderful sensation, not being online, not doing it there, not going through an automaton. So I think that's part of it. I think people are fatigued. So definitely getting the human interaction. I know it's more work, and often it's difficult because you're never quite sure what time to call, and we're not used to doing it. But I think when you get in the habit of doing it, and you end up with a really nice conversation with someone, it's so worth it. And this is definitely the way to go.
Okay. Well, I'm in agreement with the two of you. I think that if something's not working, look for a different measure. Okay. So and then let's have a look at the last one. Okay, the last one also seems to be quite a major problem, which is cancellations and no-shows on a fully booked day. Now, I've heard this. Actually, I should have added it to my feedback from the past week, because it seems to have come up on a lot of platforms, people asking each other for advice on how we prevent this cancellations business. So I think, Andy, let's start with you this time.
Was there any specific issues related to this? Like, is it that they want to charge but they don't know how, or they have charged and they've had negative feedback? Anything else more specific?
No, I have a feeling that most of these places sending these challenges are not they're not charging upfront. So they take the booking, and then on the morning of the client phones and goes, oh, sorry, I'm not going to make it, or they simply don't show. There is no, from what I'm gathering, I know obviously most of the people that have sent the feedback in, there is no pre-charging.
All right. Well, I think it's always been a tricky one. I think all the spas I've worked in have had different solutions, and there's different issues depending on whether you're in a hotel or you're independent businesses and things. But I think we had issues. Sometimes you get regular clients who do it, and then you get sometimes if it's a first timer. I think actually the first time was probably a bit easier because they don't know the procedure. And if you want to, particularly this time, I would say if you're taking new people on and you're taking credit card numbers over the phone, even if you don't charge, the threat of doing a cancellation fee often I found has been enough to put people off that first time. The people I've always had issues with is like regular people who know you, have a relationship with you, and they're the ones who are like, oh, okay, they're booking in and they're pretty good, they're giving you money and you're kind of loath to charge or say anything. And I think they're the ones where if they do it one time or maybe twice, but they're good customers, you maybe let them off. But on the third time, that's where you say, look, after this, because you've done it a few times, we're going to have to not blacklist you, but we're going to maybe put you on a reservation list, have some action in place. And that has worked. That has worked fairly well by doing that. But you have to action it. And it's not an easy conversation to do, but you have to make sure that you actually then do implement. When they try to book something, have your action in place, and then it's okay. But overall, without physically charging it and doing it, you're never going to eliminate it 100%.
Okay. All right, Fran, what do you think?
So I have this, like Andy saying, I also encounter in my business, the regular clients they don't cancel as much, and I think if they cancel, they know, they're respectful enough to let you know quite ahead in advance, and not that moment for that moment. So we have that good relationship. I think also we scared to ask for money. So if that's the problem, we scared because perhaps we don't believe that the people are going to pay. But I think if you give it the valid reasons of why you're taking the money, because you want to guarantee the booking, you want to make sure that the spot is secured, because you have a high demand of bookings over the certain periods. And if you do it over the weekend, I think you should do it then every day, because then it defies the purpose of doing it some days and not every day. I think you could put a policy in place and you try to follow that policy. Yes, it sounds very harsh, because when I arrived here, like Andy's saying, every spa probably faces this challenge. And I could hear my receptionist going through the cancellation policy with the phone, and I'm like, you don't have to be so put off, because you're trying to almost putting people off from coming, instead of like you want them to pay you. It's not that you don't want them to book. So by the way that they were saying it, sometimes it felt like, okay, never mind, I won't book, because they were too aggressive or too harsh or too detached when they were saying it. Yet they were following the protocol, so they were doing the right thing. It was just, again, the language and how to do it. So I think it's how it speaks to, do you do it upon booking? Do you inform about the cancellation policy? Do you change, or you wait for the email to come for them to read it? And it's on the body of your email, and then no one reads the email in any case. No one reads confirmations in any case. So I think that you gotta be upfront and then say, this is cancellation policy, like every other business, we wanna guarantee your booking. So this is what we're gonna be. I don't know if you do pre-authorizations or whatever the case maybe you do. We're not allowed to take credit card numbers over the phone, because they told us it's illegal in South Africa. We can't do that. So it has to be through a form or a divert payment or an EFT or whatever the case may be. So I think it's important that you get that right as well. What's the legality? I'm not sure if you're allowed to do over the phone and take numbers and stuff here in South Africa. So, but you gotta be not scared of asking for it, because it means you don't believe in your business and the quality of your business.
Okay. So thank you to both. I want to share a quick story that I started working with a property that from Monday to Wednesdays, they weren't really full. And from a Thursday to a Sunday, they were very fully booked. And they had this exact issue of no shows, people just cancelling. And I said to them, we have to implement a prepayment on these busy days. And the first take on this was, oh, no, we are going to lose these bookings. So I'm going to cut the story short because it's a year down the line. That's how long it took us. It was role play after role play after role play with every receptionist. I think I must have role played it 42,000 times. Being a difficult client, being a nice client, literally, that today the receptionists have got absolutely no problem. In fact, I don't ever have to role play again because when the one receptionist leaves, they teach the next one how to do it. And they take full prepayment of all these spa treatments from a Thursday to a Sunday. And they have no issues with people not pitching. And if they don't pitch, the people don't ask for their money back. So my advice would be put a cancellation policy in place that suits your specific business and where you are having challenges, and then role play it with your staff, because like Fran said, they are scared to ask for money. So I think the value of the role play is very, very important. Okay. All right.
Can I just say as well on that as well, language, when you do the role playing for cancellation, when you do a cancellation policy, if you notice the language and how people say it,
correct,
when they're talking, they'll be confident. They'll say, okay, so your treatment's at 6:30 tomorrow. It's with Sarah for a facial. And then just to let you know, we've got a cancellation policy, and their voice goes up.
Yeah.
And it completely changes to I apologize. And they'll speed up. Oh, it's cancellation policy. You got to book in by 3 o'clock. And they do it, and it has no gravitas. So they don't listen, and they don't say it. Actually, did you say the cancellation? Yeah. But actually, if you tell them to be like a newsreader, and the same thing. So actually, let me tell you about a cancellation policy, and do it that way. And then it has the gravitas, and they say it's serious. And just as you said, Marissa, and Fran was saying, it's about that and taking it as serious as possible.
Brilliant. And I think for those that aren't sure, it really does help to type out a script for your front desk reservationists, an actual word by word script on what you want them to say, and get them to repeat it to you so that it sounds confident, firm, yet still full of love, and we cannot wait to serve you and welcome you into our lovely spa. But I just want to make one comment with this, is when any of you book a flight to go somewhere for a flight, I mean, I don't think that you hesitate to either pay by EFT, put your credit card details in. It's not something that you're hesitant to doing. Whereas maybe in the past, when we used to use travel agents, we used to first have our flight or take our flight and make sure that there weren't any problems and then pay the travel agent. It doesn't work like that today anymore. It's become common practice. So I think things are definitely going to change, and especially in a service industry like we are in, where you are going to be paying upfront, especially if it's big groups, big packages on your very full and very busy days. Shani's got her hand up. Shani, would you like to say something?
I do. Sorry to interject. I just wanted to add to that point, Marisa, that that is a common practice in the USA. I pay up front for my hair, for my facials, for everything. So if I book any kind of treatment, with a nicer salon, I pay up front.
Okay. Yeah, and thank you. Thanks for that, Shani. So I think that we've just got to get used to this change, and we've got to be confident in what we say and do role plays with your staff. And I don't think that you're going to have a problem with it. Okay. So thank you to the two gents. Before I carry on with my last 2 or 3 slides, does anybody in the group would like to ask Andy or Fran any questions? We've got them here now. Here's your moment. You can unmute and ask them a question if there's any specific challenge that you are facing. If you don't want to ask, you can type it in the chat box and we can quickly address it. But I've got 3 or 4 more slides and then we're done for the day. Any questions, anyone? No. Right. Okay. Oh, there's something in the chat box. Let me have a look. How do you motivate staff post-corona? Francisco, your face. Would you like to answer that, Fran?
Yeah, I guess. So we are in this process at the moment in our company. We in the doorsteps of reopening, hopefully very soon. And then what we've been doing is we've been, of course, do almost a brand new induction to the company. So we've prepared a whole induction presentation that takes them almost as if they didn't know the hotel again. Like we take a picture of the bed and this is how a bed looks. This is how a plug looks. Just to almost like to welcome them back, not only, but it's a new normal. So I think it's important that number one, you check on them, like what is then, again, I go back to the mental health and mental wellness, because I think it's very important that we don't forget about that. People has been locked for 6 months or more, whatever the amount of time that I forgot how much time we've been locked down. We haven't been able to relate to other people. We've been having no salary. Some of us been laid off, or whatever the case may be. You might be broke, you might be in debt. So I think check on them, how are they feeling, first of all, before you motivate, because you might be pushing for something that the mindset is not there yet. So I would first have a one-on-one sit down with everyone and just ascertain what needs each team has. I already know 2 of my team members suffering from a little depression and anxiety before they even come here already. They haven't even started yet, which I need to then address that first before I can get them to where I want them to be in the next 3 to 4 months. I haven't even opened yet. I'm opening hopefully in the next 3 to 4 weeks, 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But they've already been telling me, oh, I can't wait to go back to work because it's going to give me a sense of normality. I'm having taken tablets because of this or this, whatever the situation is. So I think it's important that we address that, because without that being balanced, I don't think we can move forward. I think if people don't motivate enough, they're not motivated enough post-corona by having a job and be grateful enough that they have a job, with the amount of unemployment that is out there, in the amount of people being laid off, and amount of damage that this virus has done to the industry, especially to the health industry and the beauty industry, then they're very short-sighted, and they maybe, that's what I said, maybe they're not in the right perspective or mindset. So you got to put them into the right mindset. I mean, we're going back to work here, and then we have salary cuts. We have people who we've been retrenching. So I think we got to put the reality almost in front of them, and then be like, how can you not be motivated by having an amazing job that you're supposed to love? And if you don't love, then find another job. No. But you're supposed to be doing what you love. This is what you love. You should have motivation enough.
Brilliant, brilliant. I mean, Fran, I feel the same way you do. They have a job because there are so many people without jobs. Andy, do you have anything to speak into that at all?
Yeah. It's just with the changes now, you know, they've got different needs when they come back. And yeah, you're right. If they've got a job, and then hopefully they'll be grateful. But if they've got any psychological issues or depression, or the concern, I think the biggest thing is they're concerned about the future, like everybody is. So I would simply say you've got to be the one that leads the change and just be the example. So you've got to be the ones who are there, you know, be confident, be positive. Things are changing, but do it in the right way and give reasons for it. And, you know, just project that as much as you can, because people look to you anyway, whether you like it or not. They look to see how you are and they respond. So just be that person.
Okay, great. Thank you. And also, you know, from Spa Professionals Guild point of view, we have a dynamic employee wellness guide that we've developed. And 2 tools inside there we have received the most amazing feedback about. And the one is the questionnaire, the quality of life questionnaire that was developed by a psychologist. I mean, it's priceless. The information that you will get from your staff, their mindset, their financial status, everything. You'll find out things that you've never found out about them before from that questionnaire. And then the second point there is also the tips and advice that we give when it comes to wellness initiatives. So just that is such an invaluable tool that you can use to motivate your staff post-corona. Okay, so I just want to quickly touch on a message that Shani sent me regarding the cancellation policies. So some of you have met Brian Parsley. He's one of our member partners, and he really is a communications expert. And Brian has offered for our members, he has offered to help message engineering around cancellation policies. So if any of you are unsure, and you can send your wording to us, and we can message engineer for you and assist you in that way. Okay, so I think that is really amazing. So thank you very much to Brian for that. So I just want to conclude off with a couple of slides, and then we'll thank our two coaches for the day. But everybody remain obsessed. Stay like this dog with a bone. Stay obsessed with your business. Stay obsessed in your business and with your staff. And just keep going at it. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Don't give up, all right? And you'll always find different angles and different ways of tackling challenges. Don't forget again, just the last reminder of those of you wishing to start with us on our business transformational course. Please get your registrations in by next week. And then for everybody, please, because everybody keeps asking me to send out the dates long in advance. Next week's coaching is going to be slightly different. So I don't know if all of you know about the World Spa and Wellness Convention, but it is running from the 8th to the 10th of September next week. So my coaching session will be in that platform next week. Okay, so I'll send you the link it's free to attend. And basically we are going to, or I'm going to be talking about retail strategies to get stock off the shelf. Okay. And this is something that seems to have come up as a challenge in your businesses too. So I look forward to seeing you all there. And then we have on the 17th of September, we have an innovation expert that is going to be our guest speaker from Australia. And she's really going to talk about implementing innovative technology into your business. And I think this is really important because one of the subjects that we covered when emerging out of a crisis was investing in growth. And technology definitely can bring you the type of growth that you need, but you've got to make sure that you're investing in the right types of technology. So she's just going to put out some innovative technology. That is what she does. She keeps up to date with the latest trends in terms of devices or technology, treatments and things like that that you can implement into your business. So that will be the 17th of September. That is slightly earlier. It's at 1 o'clock. So our two USA ladies will be sleeping, but you two can watch the recordings. And the reason for that is because Australia's time is so the other way. So then just to accommodate so that she's not up too late. Yeah, Laniel, I know you can wake up. You wake up at 3 and 4. I know. Anyway, so if you two would love to join, we would love to have you on. Otherwise, you are welcome to watch the recording. So yeah, I just end off by saying I'll see you all next week, Thursday. Next week, Thursday's time is also different. It's at 5 p.m. Okay, it's the time that was set by the UK. And it is a free wellness convention. I think, Andy, you are also speaking. Am I right? Because I think I saw your name. When are you speaking, Andy? Let us know so that people can look out for your talk too. Do you know when you're speaking? Maybe not. Okay. Well, Andy is on there as well. Okay. Super duper. So everybody, before we go, can I have a word of closure from everybody? How are you feeling after today's session? One word, a sentence, doesn't matter. Let's hear from everybody. And while you're all typing, I want to say thank you very much to Andy and Francisco. Thank you for your time and thank you for your advice. It's really, really much appreciated. Thank you. Okay, so thanks. Okay, Lisa saying connected, and other Lisa saying wonderful, thank you, fabulous points. Vanessa encouraged. Lanil, grateful. Kim, thank you. Thank you, coaches. No fear from Mariana, love it. Tracy, thank you so much. Louise, thankful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Grateful for this group. Yes, Cara, we are too. We are very grateful to have this Spa Professionals Guild community. And for those of you who are not part of our community, we really, really invite you to become members and join in on the best practices that are shared in amongst our community. Lynn Ann saying thank you. Feeling motivated from Josh. Chongo, very practical. Thanks for some of those gems. Absolute pleasure, Chongo. Okay, super everybody. Lovely to see you all. I love the fact that we're getting advice from around the world. Yes, that is the best part for me too. It's wonderful to get it from all over the show. So it's fantastic. Super. Sarah saying thank you. Okay, everybody. So have a superb evening and an absolutely wonderful weekend. Go out there, make magic. Go and motivate your staff. And yes, we also all heard Larika's amazing story that she's also got 2 teams, 2 separate shifts, and they are on fire. So you can be too. Okay, everyone. Thanks so much.